Welcome back, everybody, to SnowBallBurrito. This is the third episode.
Episode 3!
Yeah, let's go! And now, when this episode is being recorded, episode 2 has not come out yet, sadly.
Yeah,
because
somebody
there's
was...
been some delays, but so I'm thinking these two episodes might be released back to back, and so you'll get 2 episodes, and so there's just been a lot kind of going on, just a little bit of delays and stuff, but yeah, pretty good. Of course, this is one of your hosts, Nick, co-host over here.
Same two idiots, Nick and Vince, Snowball and Burrito.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a good episode today. And so the overarching topic today is video game quality, or what we would call video game quality decay.
Yeah.
And so basically we're going to kind of be discussing, some aspects of what makes games great, I guess kind of the reasons why games nowadays just don't sort of feel the same anymore.
Yeah.
And kind of the boredom aspects, how games are advertised, and release dates are very important. But yeah, and so
Like Call of Duty, how it was rumored that it was 2-year.
Yeah.
And it's not 2-year.
I remember. If there's any older people that happen to watch us, and they're like, "Oh, you guys didn't grow up in the right era of video games." Yeah, you might be right, but it's like we grew up during when the 360 and PS3 were like big time, and same with the Wii and stuff. So that's kind of the timeline we grew up in, because I know when me and him were young, we didn't know each other at that moment, but I know like when I was young, my first ever video game I remember playing is this is kind of a funny story. So it was Gears of War on the 360, and I just remember, I think I was like 5 at this time or something.
6.
My dad.
6.
6.
Wait, the original 360?
3.
Like the old white one?
Yeah, we had that one.
The one that would like have like the fucking
red ring of death.
Sorry, the red ring of death and stuff.
Yeah.
Had those issues all the time.
Yeah, because
then 5.
Yeah, we were both born in 03, and I think this is right around. Yeah, this is when I was 5, because my first memory was when I was 4. Anyway, to get to the story, I remember that being the first game I ever like touched, looked at. There was like Call of Duty 4, which actually I think came out right around that time, or shortly, like a year or two after that time. But this is maybe in like 08, 09 or something like that. But I just remember my dad would get back, because he was in the military at this time. He would get back and he'd crash on the cat. Most of the time, he'd end up coming back from base for the weekend from Gowan training out in Boise, and he would come back most of the time, and he would immediately hop on Call of Duty or something, play with his buddies and stuff late at night. He'd still be in his uniform, and so he'd play for like an hour or two. And there was moments where he'd fall asleep. I remember so many times he'd fall asleep playing a video game, which I still cannot imagine how he could do that. But anyway, there was one day he actually fell asleep in the chair, and he was kicked back, and he was snoring like he's sawing down a forest freaking chainsaw. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, this is the funny part of the story, is the 360 has a little ding sound when you turn it on. And I remember like sneaking out. I'd wake up super early, and this would be on like the weekends and stuff. And I remember sneaking out and going and wanting to play Gears of War, because I was always fascinated by that game. And I remember a lot of times he'd always have Call of Duty in the 360, so I'd have to time every button or any sound I made. I had to time it with his snores, because he'd have a pattern of snoring. So I'd figured it out. And so the eject button would make a sound, so I'd wait like a second before he starts snoring, and then press it, and he'd snore, and it makes that sound, so the sound is masked by his own snoring. And so I'd wait, put the CD in, wait, press the button, and I'd literally, like, every moment up until playing the game, and I would just play the game on mute. I wouldn't even have any sound. And that was my first experience ever playing a video game, was that, which is kind of an odd experience, but Yeah, I still remember it too. Like that's a memory I still have. Is I just remember timing the sounds for every time he snored, just so he didn't wake up and be like, "What are you doing up this morning?" or "Why are you playing that game?" He was never mean like that or anything. It's just he would probably just be a little mad at me because I was too young to play those games, but I still managed to get away with it. But yeah. What was your like? Do you have a first memory? Or at least
The
one of your
first
memories?
ever game that I've ever played would be Halo 3. It was Halo
Oh, yeah.
3.
You're a
Halo 3.
guy, that's right.
Yeah, I love that game to death. Sad what they did with the current Halo. I mean, like, good now. There's more content coming out and stuff for it, but it's
Yeah.
definitely declining and stuff.
I
And that's
agree.
the sad part.
Yeah, and I think this is where kind of our topic comes in. Is like we both have each other have fond memories of certain video games more than the other. Like I know him, Vince. He loves Halo. I love Halo too. I've always loved Halo. I bought all the Halos and stuff when they came out and played them, and never was die hard into it like he was. It's kind of like everyone has their own little niche of a game or something they're die hard in, but
Yeah.
I just remember
Sorry.
over time just games just not hitting the same, and this is due to multiple reasons. Is like we were growing up. That's probably one of the biggest reasons.
Oh, yeah,
It's
definitely.
like we reach a point in life now where we're almost 20, and because me and him we're both a day apart in age. We pretty much share birthdays, so we're pretty much the same exact age by just one day. But we both have that in common where we've grown up to a point where now it's like games just aren't hitting the same anymore. Like there's like nostalgic moments. Like I'll have these with like Fallout. Like I remember a couple years ago where I just got out of nowhere for some. I like played Fallout and all of a sudden I was hooked for like maybe a month or two on these nostalgic trips where I'd go through and like beat everything, relearn certain things or bring back memories and even memories I didn't have because I had never played Fallout growing up. Actually, I was pretty late into playing Fallout as a game until like maybe 2015 or 16. Like I was way late in that game genre. But
For me, for all the Fallouts, I mean, New Vegas is really, like, top tier. But, like, for me, the number one Fallout game for me is definitely the third one.
I mean, three is a good choice. You always hear people argue New Vegas is better or 3 is better. You don't really hear that as much with 4. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. 4 is great. Still, there's a lot to that game that's amazing. Fallout 76, nobody talks about for a lot of reasons, but I mean,
I've heard that actually Fallout 76 has actually gotten a lot better.
Oh, I've heard it. Like that game's gotten so much better since it.
But launch though,
oh my god,
dog, bro.
I remember I got it for my birthday, and I was so excited because I was like, "Oh, Fallout Online, this actually might be cool." I never encountered any crazy bugs, but I could tell the game was not great in terms of, connections were so unstable. Everything was laggy, like crazy laggy. I didn't really have bad Wi-Fi at the time either, and so it was connection issues for me personally, and for a lot of people. But yeah, it's like, we both have grown up playing like Call of Duty. I just remember as a kid wanting to come home from school and just play games all day, all night. Like especially in 2015 and stuff when like Black Ops 3 came out. I remember like just going crazy in that game, so many hours. I've like over on like for some reason the Xbox got rid of the stats, which kind of made me
Yeah,
mad.
you had like something around like 150 something hours.
No, days.
It was a crazy number, man.
Basically, it was like over at least 100 days of any. And probably I'd say, probably like maybe 90 of those days were strictly zombies because I was always kind of a zombie player. I was so good at it, and it was always the funnest thing in the world. And I just remember, growing up, just not having to care in the world, not having to worry about, adult stuff.
Yeah, like what am I gonna eat tomorrow?
Yeah, literally. And I think that's part of the idea of why video games have sort of decayed. And older generations might have their different reasons. and their reasons could be still similar with age, and things just don't feel the same as they used to, because it's a youthful thing. That's when you think about it. It's glory time is when it's in your youth period.
Yeah, because you could sit there and play and play and play.
Yeah, like, especially if you maybe, obviously, depending on the family, you might have, restrictions on time and all that. All that depends on the family, the people, the person, or whatever.
But even if you still had those time limits, you still always had, those great moments.
And it's like, something about video games just made you want to, come home early, or, stay home. I want to play video games all day, or, I remember, when the Call of Duties were coming around that time, especially Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 2, man.
Black Ops 2.
Those are the games those two Call of Duties were baller for me, because those were the moments where I was starting to play online, because I was afraid to play Halo 3 online. I'd still play Halo 3 online. But then, Modern Warfare 2 came out, and I was like, oh my god, I'm playing this game. And then that's when I kind of switched over to Call of Duty a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would always go back to Halo. There's nothing that was going to stop me from going back to Halo.
The thing for me, I'm sorry if you guys hear a weird noise. I'm trying to adjust my mic. But the thing for me is, another thing was boredom. Is I have more games. If I were a kid, looking at my game library now, looking into the future, I would drop dead with the amount of games. I have so many games now on PC, Xbox, crossing all platforms, PlayStation, Switch now. As a kid, I would always dream I want all the consoles, I want all the games, basically. I'll never get bored. And I remember playing Minecraft for years and never getting bored of the game. Zombies, Call of Duty, Fable, everything under the sun that I was able to get a hold of that interests me, I would never get bored of. And I think boredom never came up really until senior year of high school, because that's when the moment I started feeling growing up became more apparent. And I think people can relate to this. It's just games just kind of get boring. They feel more boring than what they used to feel back in the day. So playing Minecraft now just doesn't hit the same, or doesn't have that same uniqueness compared to playing it 6 years ago. And so I think that's a big problem, is boredom becomes more apparent as you grow older. Maybe your attention span isn't the same. Maybe you got more stuff to worry about, I gotta do car insurance,
I gotta do my laundry so I have clothes for work tomorrow.
You gotta sort of think more about yourself now. And for me personally, I go to college, so I have all the games in the world on computer, especially because I managed to snag myself a pretty good gaming desktop about probably 8 months ago, and then that was my ultimate dream, was getting a gaming desktop computer. Probably that'd be the only thing. I own a Series X, I own a PS5, I own a Switch, I own a 360. Like I said, if little me were to know what I have now, he would lose his mind. Yeah. But it's I'm in that spot now, but I'm yeah, I own all the consoles, but it's I'm not playing on them all the time. Yeah. Little me would be, but today me is bored.
Before I got this job, I'm working now. The first episode and the second episode, I wasn't working. First episode, I was gonna work with Nick, but unfortunate thing happened. I was sick, so I couldn't really apply. So that position got closed.
Yeah.
And stuff. I went job searching after that. So he works at a Jackson's. Or an Extra Mile is what they call it.
I work at a gas station, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna work with him, like I said, but got sick, couldn't do that, and I couldn't come in for an interview because I was sick, and it was evident in the first episode. Ain't that right, Nick?
Yeah.
You could hear it. I was congested. I mean, just unfortunate event. And then I was job searching, and I was applying cafes, any gas station really, because if I got to the gas station that's like really close to my apartment right now, that'd be really baller. I could have just walked to work, but I'm currently working at Amazon.
Yeah.
Again for the third time in a row. Not in a row, but third time. I made a joke with my mom earlier, like 2 days ago, like maybe before I started. I was saying, what was I saying? I was saying, well, who knows? Maybe third time's the charm. I mean, I'm enjoying it now because I'm actually having coworkers to talk to, and actually, it's not night shift. Because that was my problem the first time around. The first two times around, it was a night shift, and it would do so much for my body, so I'd get sick really bad.
Well, night shift, you know, I mean, really, no matter what kind of person you are, night shift just goes against the organic human clock, which is daytime is everyone where everyone's out, you know, living life, and the nighttime typically is when, you know, human design, you should be asleep. But, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, there's a lot of people that could do it reverse, like, you know, they'll sleep all day and be up literally all night like it's daytime.
Yeah.
And so, but it's like, you know, for some people it's not maybe a good thing long period, because you're going against that you know, that built up organic time clock that your body's used to.
Yeah, for me though, it was not more of the fact that it was like, you know, night shift, nighttime, and I should be asleep. It was more of the fact of actually lifting heavy shit.
Yeah.
While feeling a little drowsy.
Yeah, you just don't feel 100% all the time.
And
really,
and just doing the extra bit when you're tired, and for me anyways, tired, and you know, you're about like sleeping throughout the entire work shift.
Yeah.
It did a lot on my body. Like, it hurt my legs a lot. Like, before that, like, my knees are pretty messed up from basketball and all the football and a little bit of track. But I was fine. I didn't have to wear a knee brace all the time. But, like, an incident happened at Amazon. I was out for, like, 3 days because of it from work. And I fell off the ladder.
Yeah.
But it wasn't more like fall on my ass or fall on my back. It was like fall, and I buckled my knees so hard. And it was so bad. And, like, I was on the verge of tears because of how bad it hurt. Like, it happened, like, I've buckled my knee, like, really bad before, like, in football and in basketball, coming down with the ball and stuff. But, like, this was, like, a whole nother pain. And then after that, like, my knees have not been the same since. We're getting off topic now. Let's go back.
No. Actually, I kind of want to bring up something. Like, I've fallen off a ladder too, and I think some people tend to forget. But it's like, but I fell off a ladder probably about. It was a year ago. It was at my old store before I transferred to a new location. The ladder was bugged. I kept complaining about it, and they wouldn't do anything. And eventually, it came down to I was dusting on the side of the building, and I fell and hit the back of my head on concrete.
Oh, yeah, you told me about
this. From,
this.
like, quite a few steps up. And I was below the point where it says not to go above this point because you might fall. I was on the ladder normally, and it just gave out of nowhere. And I fell, and I was, like, feet away from hitting my back of my head on raised concrete. And it was one of those things where, you know, I didn't think about it at the time, but I'm like, I could have fucking died.
Not just that, you could have been paralyzed.
Or I could have gotten a concut. Like, I could have gotten a load of things that I said. But it was one of those things where I think about it now, and it's more scary just thinking about it then, because, you know, I fell, and my head got, like, it bounced, and I was like, oh, like, I did not feel good after, because I thought, like, oh, maybe I might get a concussion. I had, like, mini whiplash or something going on, because I know when I sat there, like, holding the back of my head for, like, 5 minutes just on that raised piece of concrete that I could have hit. I was just sitting there just because my head was just not doing, like, I needed to, like, straighten myself out. And I basically I was fuming at this point. I was like, fuck this ladder. Fuck you. And I just took the ladder and tossed that shit right in the garbage. I was fuming red. And I walk into the store, and I'm like, y'all gotta fucking replace that ladder, otherwise you're gonna get another one of fucking CSR's killed or some shit like that. And I was And I'm never that mad, but it's like it just ticked a part of me in my brain. It tickled the angry part of my brain, and I was like,
oh shit,
but
man! I would have been fucking pissed too. Like I would have walked it. I would have all the words. I would have been a sailor. Would have been a sailor.
Yeah.
Like I get that. But like Amazon, you kind of have this step. You have this ladder that slides, but once you get on it, it doesn't move. So it's pretty secure. I was just being an idiot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I probably could have said something before, but I just kind of ignored it because I didn't think anything was going to happen, but it's partially my fault. But, yeah, we're way past that. I didn't even end up getting a concussion. Nothing really ever happened. I just know I have a really hard head. That's how I really found out how good my head strength is. But, anyway, back to video games.
Yeah, back to video games. We, like, totally went off topic there.
But, kind of the thing I always... It's like I was saying earlier, it's like, little me would be so ecstatic to look at what I have now. But I look at it now and I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I have all that stuff, but it's like now in the moment with how everything has turned out, I'm like, yeah, cool. But I don't play on my Series X every day. I haven't touched it in like weeks. I haven't touched my PS5 in like 2 months. I played my Switch the other night with my girlfriend. And then I play on my PC a lot. Well, I'm usually on my PC with schoolwork anyway, so I'm on my computer no matter what. Like, that's something I'll probably never not have. Phone, I used to play a lot of mobile games. I don't so much anymore.
Yeah, like I used to play Call of Duty Mobile all the damn time.
Yeah, mobile games kind of had a spike for me for a while. There was this one RPG I played for like years. And I also go back to it every once in a while, but I don't play it as hardcore anymore because I was like, yeah, it became too much of a hassle, and again, it's one of those things where I just started getting bored, and it just like my attention span couldn't handle playing that all the time anymore, and I think that's another thing is it's different now when you try and sit down and play a game. Yeah. For a long period of time compared to then.
Yeah, the only way to get me to play a game now is if I'm playing with my buddy Brody or my older brother and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I like to play video games, but it's just not it's not catching me. Who knows, maybe the new Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
That should still be Modern Warfare 2. Literally just an update.
Oh my god, that's the thing with games now, and that's another problem. That's so like I said, there's many problems with why video games just die off in terms of quality, but it's the same stuff. There's not a whole ton of new, like, innovative, crazy, like, addictive gameplay mechanics anymore. And I think that's where I think, I know some people will argue maybe the 90s were the golden age of video games, maybe the early 2000s, maybe even the 80s and stuff when the video games are really starting to, like, become a thing, like, especially arcades. But It's like, I still feel like we grew up in the golden age of modern day video gaming, and it's just looking back on the games then for how we grew up, like 360 and PS3 and even the early Xbox One, PS4 days versus now, it's like, don't get me wrong. The games are great in terms of graphics. Like, graphics has come a long way in such a short period of time. But it's like
Modern Warfare 2.
It's not about the graphics for me entirely.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, I realized it more. It's like, yeah, you got all these games with crazy graphics, but it's like, that's not what makes a game fun. It's playing the game, the mechanics, the addictive elements, the stuff that gets you hooked, the good story. And those are just many elements that make up a video game. It could be different for everyone. Maybe someone just plays games just because it looks good, but that's not me personally. I'm more of like, I just want a game to run as best as possible. I'm more about like FPS than actual graphics.
I'm more of like storyline. I mean, multiplayer. I'm down to play multiplayer a lot. I play multiplayer a lot, like Call of Duty, Halo. I play those. Like, I was competitive in Halo for a while there. I mean, I wasn't like top-notch competitive player, like, oh, you know who I am and you'll see me play online against people. I was just really good at it, so like I'd just go online and do like tournaments for like Halo. I did that for Halo Infinite for a bit. multiplayer Halo Infinite back when it first came out, ass, dog shit, dog shit. I mean, but the campaign for me, it was really good because it gave me. I mean, open world, debatable.
Yeah.
And you can't go back and play the missions,
yeah,
which is kind of ass in my opinion. Like, I want to be able to replay and replay and replay and replay, not have to restart from the beginning with nothing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with, like, just going back to that mission and, like, having, like, nothing really. Like, no skulls or anything like that. But, like...
Yeah.
Not being able to go back and play it, like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, I love Halo so much, but you can't just do me like that. Like, campaign-wise. Multiplayer, I mean, if it's a hit or miss, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still go play it. It gives me something, like, play the campaign, and, like, that gets me to, like, oh, I want to play Halo again. I want to play Halo Infinite again. But having to restart the campaign completely over and over and over, like, from scratch, like, it's like, come on.
Well, most games, now it's like, there was a time where, like, I didn't mind restarting certain campaigns and stuff over and over. I know for me, I know now, like, say if I were playing a game and I got really into it and I got maybe through, like, whatever campaign story this said game has, and I'll get maybe halfway through and all of a sudden maybe it all gets lost. I'm not fucking playing that game again. Nope. Because that's where, like I said, my attention span just shrinks when it comes to that.
Didn't that happen to you in, like, was it Modern Warfare 2? Like, you were playing it and it was like Modern Warfare 2 campaign. Let's be honest, that shit was awesome. That shit was gas.
Oh, yeah, I think, something happened with the save data. I think it was an update or transfer of data or something.
Because I remember having to just tell you what happened in the game because you were like, I'm not going to play it because...
Oh, yeah, I got a little over halfway done with the campaign, and I don't know what happened, but then all of a sudden the data was gone, and I was like, what? And then... I was like, fuck this, I'm not playing it again because I'm like, I'm not going to do that again. And part of it too is sometimes the grind is just too much to do again, and I'm like, nope. It was like, there was a mobile game called Terraria that I used to play years ago. Such a great game. I remember I had so many good memories of that game. It's really sad what happened too, because I got so addicted to it and I beat like all the bosses. I went through whole end game stuff in that game. I was so addicted, like more than probably Marvel Future Fight. But like I even got hacked items and everything. You know, I was so into that game. But I remember one day, I remember logging on to my old iPod, and all of a sudden, this is weird because the character in the world are actually two different types of saves. You can bring a character to a new world.
Yeah.
And the world is they're separated. So I log into my main world where everything is. You'll log in and spawn, but the whole terrain is missing. Like every block in the whole world is missing. Basically, as soon as I spawn, I fall to the lowest point in the game. And you can still walk at the lowest point. It's like bedrock, the equivalent of bedrock. You know, you can't destroy it, but it's there. You know, it's like I'm walking, but everything's gone. The backdrop in the world's still there, like you can see what biome you're in and stuff, but every block's missing. Like literally everything in the world vanished. I was like, what? I was so pissed. I was like, well, at least I have my character. I have some stuff in my character that I'm glad I keep. And I kid you not, like 2 days later, I log in again. My character is right. I'm like, I was fuming like a motherfucker. Oh my god, I was so mad. Because that was probably the first time anything like that has happened where I just lost everything, and I'm like, I'm never playing this game, and I never played the game the same ever again. And I just quit trying. I was like, I'm never playing this game again. Ever since then, I couldn't really get myself to go back because, like I said, it's the grind to get back to that point would have just been even more. And I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that again.
Do you think because there was hacked items in that world?
No, apparently there was a bug in the game I read online that a couple people ran into the same issue, and I just happened to be one of those random unlucky players that ran into the bug.
Oh,
I'm like,
shit.
oh my god, this is bullshit, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, so certain games it depends, but like Fable, that was actually a game I didn't mind going back through. Like, I remember, I've told this story before. I was like halfway through the game, I was at the arena. And I remember I was playing the original Xbox on an old TV too, and I was in my room. And my dad and my mom were home. All of a sudden, I forgot to save.
Oh man, that's so ass.
I go halfway through the game and I don't bother saving because I'm so into it. I didn't even think about saving the game. And the shitty thing is, the saving in that game is not exactly the way you think it is. There's a thing called hero save and there's a thing called world save. So when you're in a mission, you could save, but only everything that your hero carries. Now, when you're not in a mission and you're just free roaming, you can do world save, and that's everything in the present moment. Like, you're saving where you're at in the whole game, basically. So I'm in the arena, and even if I saved, all I could have done is kept the hero stuff. But either way, the power went out, and I hadn't saved at all for the whole game. And I had to restart back from so I was like maybe 6 hours into the game. And I had to go back to the first hour of the game.
Oh shit.
Because I hadn't saved. I was like, ugh.
I would have.
But I was like,
been so mad,
I didn't
man.
mind at the time because I enjoyed the game that much, which is rare now.
You catch me that as a kid, I would have been. I turned into a sailor. I'd been like, fuck you, this, fuck that, fuck you. And shit, because I'd be like, if I got that far in the game, I probably got like as much as you can get. Because we were grinders back in the day.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but if I lost everything and I didn't save because I was too immersed in the game, I would have lost it. Like, I lost it.
Oh no, I agree. Trust me.
Like, even if I like didn't mind it at that time, I still would have been angry and then got the anger out and then been like, all right, let's go back into this. I mean, I probably would have saved and quit after I got like 4 hours in and be like, all right, we're done for now.
Yeah.
And shit, but like nowadays it's like, all right, game resets from beginning. Did I complete the campaign? Yes, I did. All right, I ain't gonna play again. Not gonna touch it.
Oh god, no.
Unless the campaign was that good to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the game is just that good, like Fable was for me, I wouldn't mind going through back because there was something about the game at the time, especially that I just couldn't stop getting away from. And so,
if you hear chewing, he's eating pizza. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to chew in the mic, y'all. But video games just aren't the same anymore. Just plain simple.
Yeah, it's sad. But I guess it's just a part. Like for some people, I mean, some people like grow old. They just don't change. And they're always hyped for the newest game to come out and stuff. And that's cool. I mean, like, I wish I had that.
There are people like that.
I wish I still had that. That'd be nice. Because then I'd have something to look forward to after work and stuff. But, like, unless I'm not getting on with... If I'm getting on with buddies, that's the only time I'm playing video games. I mean, there's some times where, like, oh, you know what? I want to get on a little bit. I want to grind something in Call of Duty for a little bit, like a gun.
One game I will never get bored of whenever a new one comes out. It's probably Doom. That's the one game I get so hyped.
I agree.
If I see a trailer, I'm immediately hooked into that and watching everything about it. 'Cause I remember when Doom 2016 came out, and I was like so excited for that one. And I remember my dad bringing me that while I was asleep. I woke up and he really shoved it in my face. He's like, Doom. I'm like, thank you. But I was like trying to wake up. I was like, I gotta install it first. But
that's the shitty part. Games gotten so big that they have to be installed.
Such a stupid. Especially the original Xbox One. Oh man, that was so bad. You couldn't install anything unless you had Wi-Fi, which is the dumbest thing ever. And there's a lot of reasons why that console failed for a lot of reasons, but.
And then now it's like they get it from the disc instead of just getting it from online and shit.
So like most games now, It has disc data, which is like pretty much the game in the space without any of the patches. So it's just the launch version of the game. And then anything that's added through patches, bug fixes will go through an update process. So, but yeah, which is so much better now. Like, but I guess the reason is just games have gotten so big. Well, it's like. Sorry,
he's eating. Hold on. Give him a second.
Well, the thing is, though, people don't realize, but 360 had that at the end of its lifetime with GTA 5, Destiny.
Yep,
Destiny
all
were
the
biggest ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because those games were like probably the peak of what the 360 could do for graphics and performance. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 on the 360 at the time, back in 2013, was wow. To get a game that big, it was mind blowing because that was probably literally the peak, the absolute max of what you could push the 360 to go.
Yeah.
Same with Destiny. You know, that game was so good graphic wise. I remember my dad going all in on that when it came out in 2013 or 14 that same year. And
I believe 14.
The thing is, 2014. It's like to install those, you actually had to install with multiple discs.
Yeah, you had to do disc 2 first before you could
really,
touch disc 1.
That was okay. I mean, really, the start was the floppy disk, but we're not that old. So we're talking about modern gaming. The 360 with those games specifically were probably the start of how games install now, especially with how big they were.
Yeah, because then after those games came to that 360, like Halo 4, you had to do the same thing. Well, certain copies.
That's right. I forgot Halo 4 had that thing too.
Yeah.
Because it was getting so big.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm gonna rank the Halos real quick.
It was storage size, not necessarily the game itself, but the game's storages were starting to get bigger.
Yeah.
That's why.
All right, I'm gonna name off the Halos and my pick for like the shittiest to the best. Okay. All right, bottom tier. Right. The worst game ever to be created for Halo. Halo fucking 5. Dog shit game.
I agree.
Dog shit game. Cause like it was the campaign ass.
Mm-hmm.
Story went by too fast. It was all over the place. It was dog shit. Like you were playing it. It was supposed to be Spartan Lock and also
and the
Master
advertisements
Chief.
for that game too.
Yeah, the advertisements. It was like
they were completely false.
Yeah, like it made us think that we could make our choices. Like we'll be able to.
One of them were gonna die, and none of them died. Like,
yeah.
The way they portrayed it was like, you know, like it kind of had the aspect: is Master Chief gonna die? Is Spartan Lock gonna is the whole point is to kill Master Chief or vice versa or whatever? None of that happened at all.
When I first saw those, I was like, maybe they're gonna let us choose the campaign. Like,
no.
we could play as Spartan Lock and we go through a campaign with him, and we beat Chief, or we play as Chief and we go through Chief's story, and we beat Locke. Like I was like really stoked for that. And then me and my older brother, like before it came out, because we're hyped for it because we both liked Halo. He didn't like it as much as I did, but whatever.
Yeah.
We first saw the commercial because it was on TV. We were watching. I don't remember what we were watching, but we were watching something. And then Halo 5 commercial came out, and I was like, "Dude, look at this!" And it was a Master Chief.
Yeah.
And you could see like their health bar and stuff, and it showed you like how Master Chief had like a sliver gone.
That's what I'm saying.
And then when you saw Locke's side, Locke's was like halfway gone, or like more than halfway gone.
Yeah.
And we'd make jokes like, oh, look how like when Chief wins, like he barely did anything to him, and then when you see Locke win, Locke wins by just barely anything. And we were hyped from that because it was like, oh, Halo, the new Halo was coming out. Like Halo 4, I mean, kind of lowballed it. I mean, that's the next one off on the tier because it goes Halo 5, then Halo 4 for me. Halo 4, I'm not going to dog on it that much. Halo 4,
it could have been worse, but it could have been better.
Yeah, it could have been worse, but it could have been better. I mean, it's not a bad game. Like multiplayer, like after Reach and stuff, like it was actually a really good game.
Yeah.
All right. People will be mad at me for this one. I'm going to put Halo Combat Evolved next after Halo 4.
I mean, that... Yeah, I agree.
I didn't get to play the multiplayer online. I mean, I can now with the Master Chief Collection, and then because like that raises it up a tier for me. But not being able to play it at its peak, kind of sad. And you can always get like the Halo or before you could have got the Halo Custom Edition. You could play online with other players that way, and you had to go to like the Halo Custom Edition site, which was fun. You can get modded maps and shit. It was cool. It was fun. It was really fun. This was before Halo, I believe, Reach when I played Halo Custom Edition. It was really fun. I got in trouble because I downloaded Halo on the computer.
Yeah.
And stuff, and they always get mad at me because I was that kid. I was always downloading shit that I shouldn't get.
I think a lot of people. Yeah, I was like that too.
And then I now know that it's like it's not a trusted site, don't go.
Yeah.
And stuff. But like Halo Combat Evolve, campaign wise, definitely one of the best stories. Because it starts off the franchise. Because it was the first Halo.
Yeah.
And
it's always Halo 2 and 3, I swear, that are probably the most debatable. It's always those two I always hear about, which I know you're about to get
into. Yeah. All right, and then the next one for me would have to be Halo 2. Halo 2 for me, like, it was fun because the LAN parties. Yeah. Oh man, those were so fun. Like, there was a teacher in Parma. He, like, I don't know what happened to him before we even got up to high school.
Yeah.
Like, my brother would go to the school and play Halo 2 or Halo 3 or Halo Reach. And they would all sit in a room together and they would all play. They would bring their Xboxes and stuff and they would play the game. And I was like, that is so cool. Cirillo, you need to bring me. And that's the first time I ever went to a Halo LAN party. Sorry.
Yeah.
LAN, same difference. And it was fun. And we did it for Halo 3 and then Halo Reach when Halo Reach came out. Halo Reach, I'll get into
Halo
that
Reach's multiplayer is what a lot of people caught on more as it got older. I think that's why people praise Reach more now than they did when it came out.
Yeah, the people were dogging on Reach when it came out.
Reach was one of those, it needed time to really grow, I guess, on people.
All right. So we got Halo 2 out of the way. Halo 2 was fun, like, LAN parties, and, we always play Swords with my cousins whenever they came over. They brought their Xbox, and they got their TV, and they come over. It would be 4v4. Like, we even get my sisters to play because they actually enjoyed playing Halo 2. It was great. And we'd play those, and it was, like, the funnest I've ever had playing with my older brother. It was great to see that he was happy to play, and I was having a good time seeing him play because that was my motivation to play games in the first place, is seeing my older brother play. And that's why I'm so good now, because I watched him. Like, whenever he played, I was always there watching him play. That's where I got my Halo skills from, and then I added on to that myself because, you get better when you play.
Yeah.
So that was Halo 2. Halo 2, for me, is dear to my heart, but it's not my number one Halo.
Yep.
Halo 3 is the next Halo. Halo 3, I loved Halo 3. I loved Halo 3 for the campaign. The campaign was amazing. Me and my older brother, we'd play it. He's Master Chief, I'm Arbiter. Never get to play player one unless I'm playing with my little brother. Now it doesn't matter. It's like whoever gets first player gets first player, gets second player. Except when I'm playing with everybody else, I'm like, I'm first player, don't care.
Yeah.
But Halo 3 was fun. I loved Halo 3 so much. Like, I'd get games, I'd play them for a while, and then I'd magically appear on Halo 3.
Yeah.
I loved Halo 3 so much. It's number 2 for me because of how much fun I had and how much, I'd go and play it.
Yeah.
Halo 3 was fun. Halo 3 matchmaking was great, too. Multiplayer was amazing. Campaign was amazing. All-around game, amazing. Forage finally was the first thing, like, first Halo to have Forage. Yeah. It was great. All the custom maps that people were making, all the little game modes for multiplayer and custom games, and I got to be a part of that. That was great. That was so fun. That was the start of Halo 3 Forage and stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I'm probably taking a little bit too much time.
No, it's fine.
And then my number one Halo is Halo Reach. Halo Reach, when I first played it, it was like love at first sight.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in love before. I'd pick my love over Halo Reach, but that's besides the point. And shit. Halo Reach like campaign. You played all the way to the very end, very last fucking level.
Yeah.
What made me cry because of the whole story, like how
I
you were
remember
a team.
the last one. Yeah, I do.
You were a team. If you haven't played Halo Reach, you better go play that fucker right now. Halo Reach campaign. Started off, you come in as a lone wolf, but you come in your character comes in as a team. Comes into a team. Sorry, there's like a train coming by.
Hear noises.
And it was like, oh, this is cool because Halo Reach, Noble 6 for Halo Reach was that's the reason why his shit was all blacked out.
Yeah.
It was because that was supposed to significant you as a player as Noble 6. So his story his or her story, or whatever you prefer to go as, was made to be your story. Like you could have whatever you wanted it to be.
Yeah, that's a reasonable list. Mine is slightly different. I won't get into that this episode. I know we are.
Sorry, I'm kind of cut. I cut
we
the
are
time
actually
there.
over our time, but this episode will be a little longer. But so I won't say why, but I'll tell you my Halo list, and then I'll actually explain to you what my Gears of War ranking is.
Okay.
So, if any of you that know that game, but my Halo list would from worst to
Gears
best.
War 3 was the best one. Just saying.
Well, my Halo list. I'm not gonna really give reasons why, but I mean I know why. But from worst to best, it would be Halo 5, definitely.
Dog shit game. Hold on, let me hit them with the reverb. Dog shit game.
It would be Halo 5, then Halo 4, and then probably Halo Reach.
Okay.
And then it'd go Halo Combat Evolved, and then Halo 3 ODST,
I totally forgot about that.
and then Halo 3, and then it'd go Halo. What did I forget one?
Halo 2.
And then a Halo 2 would be my favorite one. That one I just know the reason why it's my favorite is just because, it was one of the first games I ever got for the original Xbox, actually. Probably the first, I think, because it's my father's father, my grandpa, who got it for me. And so I just remember being so addicted to that game forever, trying to find all the skulls and everything, too. And the secret plasma rifle you could find.
Fucking scarab gun?
Yeah, I remember trying. I don't think I've ever been able to do it, but... Because it's so hard to be able to find it.
Yeah, there's a super jumps that you have to do that for me at that time it was like impossible. Now I can do it. It's easy. It's fun.
So, Gears of War, one of the best video game franchises of all time. It's obviously not as good now, which is kind of sad,
same thing with
Halo.
like the best.
Yeah, and I'd say so. This will be from worst to best. Judgment is probably the worst.
Yes.
Definitely. I think a lot of people could agree with this because
I agree with you.
it was brain dead of Epic Games to even get rid of the 4-weapon slot that was normally in the game for years. And now you are only stuck with 2 weapons and grenades, and that was it. There was no other weapon and like a pistol. It was literally you would only be able to have like just 2 guns at all time. I'm like, what was the point of that change? It's such a brain dead. Like you're getting rid of the basic formula that makes that game fun in the first place. And I was like, whatever, okay. And so, and the story was kind of the thing that made me mad personally was,
excuse me,
I don't know, for some reason it keeps cutting your mic out. Like I have to keep changing it back, which is really weird. But anyway, which means there might be some audio discrepancies in this video, which I'm fully aware of because I'm watching it as it's happening. But
we'll eventually fix that completely.
We'll try and figure out a way to stop that from happening. But anyway, the story was it was really just the weapon system I didn't like.
I just didn't like it.
There was kind of the because you had no locust. I mean, you did it for the other modes like this horde-ish mode. There wasn't really even a horde mode. It was like a survival wave mode up until like 12 waves. And you did have Locust. You could play as Locust, but it wasn't the same. It was like a class. It was like a. You had a. It was like Beast mode. It was another. It was like a different version of Beast mode, basically.
Beast mode is great.
Yeah, it was just garbage game. That game should not have even come out, or if it did, they should have not made those changes that they did. So Gears Judgment is probably the worst in my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree with that one. But I'd say the second worst. See, this is where it gets hard because the
other ones are actually really good.
Pretty much the first three, it's really hard to rank for a lot of reasons, but
yeah, because they're all
5
good.
Is probably the next one. I'm not going to go through all the DLCs because yeah, they all are on their own thing, but I'd say 5 is definitely the second worst because
launch was kind of bad. Not
like
gonna lie.
Some of the mechanic, like they changed the way some guns work in the game. Like they changed the reticle in a lot of guns. They changed. They made it more open world, which I still think wasn't a bad decision. I just don't think it was executed quite in the way I thought they should have done it. But so I feel like a lot of it just kind of felt blah and kind of open, but not much character to the world. It was just kind of mostly it was just barren, and so it was really just you had to go from point A to point B through this whole traversal thing. But the campaign was good. The ending I think was very interesting, kind of sad because nobody knows what ending is canon, which is really sad.
Yeah, because you don't know who actually died.
Yeah, spoiler alert. The ending, JD, the main character, who is Marcus Phoenix's son, and his friend Dell, who became a pretty lovable character during 4. There's a choice between whether one of them dies or not, and which one you save. Then if you save JD, Dell will die. If you save Dell, JD will die. JD is Marcus' son, and Marcus has been kind of the main staple of Gears of War forever, so it's like nobody knows what's canon until literally the next Gears of War game comes out.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Years.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Hold on. I'm gonna put you on pause real quick.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna guess, the next Gears of War, or the next Gears, it's gonna be I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Phoenix's last.
Oh yeah, I think
Gears.
They gotta kill him off eventually. Like they definitely. I know it's gonna suck. Like a.
But make sure he goes out in a fucking bang.
Oh, dude! Like I hope it's a death that actually has like great meaning to it, not just some like. And this is where I get into like Gears of War 3 and stuff. But so yeah, Gears of War 5. I think part of the problem was they didn't execute the whole character pack thing because, you either had to use real money or. There wasn't no credit system like Gears 4 where you could actually play and earn stuff. Granted, that was more RNG, but I still liked it a lot better because you actually could easily earn like these credit points to buy these packs to get characters. But yeah, Gears of War 5's launch has kind of ruined it for a lot of people. And it got better. They added like the currency back, and then you were able to actually purchase characters with that in-game currency to earn through challenges and stuff, which made it so much easier. And so... Now, the next one is kind of obvious. Gears 4. Gears 4, I enjoyed the campaign very much. It was weird because, after Gears of War 3 came out in 2011. Gears 4 didn't come out until 2016, so there was about a 5-year gap between the game. So everyone was like, well, the Locusts are dead, yada, 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 like, what's going to go on? And I think the story, there were some spots that could have been better, but I think, like... Introducing the Swarm as a new threat was definitely interesting because, it was also the first game that Epic Games weren't creating themselves because the company actually got the rights to the game called the Coalition, which actually used to be headed by a guy who actually was part of the original Gears of War trilogy, but it wasn't created by Cliff Bleszinski anymore. The idea of the Swarm apparently was still there from years before, but not all of it was in the same vein, so they definitely changed a lot.
Yeah.
And made it into their own vision, which probably was for the better. But yeah, Gears 4, the RNG pack system for characters and multiplayer wasn't that great in my opinion because I hate a lot of the RNG stuff because it's just most of the time it's always just unlucky. Basically, it's kind of like what I was saying with Gears 5 now, but with Gears 4, you can earn these like COG gear currency points. and you could purchase packs to possibly be able to unlock a character through RG rolls. And so
remember the Cog Marines?
Yeah, there was like a basic pack, and in the game you had like cut skill cards mainly for like horde mode and stuff. And so most of the time you were getting like there's like a skill card pack, like it's an operations pack, and then you got like the elite pack, which was costing 2,000. It was like the best one you could buy. You have the higher chance of getting some like character or something. I think that was really one of its biggest downfalls was that system. I think I'm glad the way Gears 5 did it later on. I think that's what it should have been in the first place. But yeah, Gears 4's campaign was good. Horde mode was pretty good. Some of the challenges, especially getting the gilded characters in preparation for Gears 5, I think was pretty fun. I think Gears 4's multiplayer was probably my most favorite in the most time I've ever spent in a multiplayer for Gears of War. Like I'm on like re-up 5 or 6 in that game, or I like Prestige like a multitude of times, which I never thought I would, but I did like 5 separate times. But now this is where it gets difficult because the Gears trilogy is so good in so many ways. It's like the holy grail of trilogies for video games, pretty much. And it's so hard to rank them because, Gears 1 has its moments where it's crazy good. Gears 2 has its moments where it's especially dank as fuck. And then Gears 3, there's sad moments, and then there's holy shit moments. And so it really just comes down to pretty much gameplay, I would say, pretty much, and which hurts certain, games. I would say Gears 1 is probably next on the list. Don't get me wrong, I could go back and play that game and have so much fun, like reliving that nostalgia, because like that has a lot of meaning to me because it was the first game I've ever played. First of all, the first game I've ever touched. So I had a lot of like meaningful nostalgia to it. So every time I'd like play it and come back to it once in a while, I'd still enjoy it. Maybe not as the same as I used to as a kid, but it's still so good. The story in that game is really good, and it was a great introduction for a great franchise of a video game. Even the books, I own a lot of the books too, and the books are a great read too. And so, which give more backstory into a lot of the events that happen in the games that are sort of unexplained. But like Gears 1 with the ending, like kind of the plot twist, and then like the introduction of Marcus as an iconic video game character, probably one of the most iconic video game characters with the scar, the do-rag. It was like perfect basically. And the voice actors for that game were really good. I like everything on that game was almost pitch perfect. Sadly, going back now, it comes down to gameplay. It is a lot clankier in most spots compared to the rest of the games on the list and even previous ones. But like, still doesn't take away from the experience. Like I can still go back and have a ton of fun on the game. But you can definitely tell some of the movement has changed quite a bit, and it's not as fluid as it becomes to be in the future ones. But anyway, next on the list would be Gears 2. And Gears 2, I know a lot of people, it honestly would be a lot of people's favorites too, because the campaign was very expansive size-wise. Like, it only came out like a couple years after the first one. That was the most hype there probably ever was for a video game at that time. Like, crazy hype for the sequel because everyone loved the first one. They're like, oh my god, what are they gonna do for the second one? It's crazy seeing like the earthworm. You're inside of a rift worm, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you got to sort of experience and see like the origins of the locust, which was more explored in Gears 5. But you get to make conspiracy theories and guess like how the locust, sort of came to be. And it never was really answered in Gears 2 as much because it still was all left kind of unanswered. And so Gears 2's gameplay was good. They introduced so many good weapons like the Gorgon gun, the mortar, the ink grenade was introduced. It was fun. And it brought so many good memories, especially the part where you're riding the Brumach and the ending, and you're, hammer dying it out of existence, Jacinta blowing up, so many moments out of the game. Oh, finding Maria. Probably the most emotional moment of that whole game was finding Maria in the Locust torture cell. That got me sad.
And then what Dom had to do after.
Yep. And like that one, like the campaign, the graphics were also pretty good. They're not bad even today by today's standards, but like the mechanics of being able to destroy walls and like debris falling off, like things were a lot more detailed now. The Lancer was slightly changed. Like everything had more color, more definition. The graphics were better. They changed the face a little bit in a lot of the characters. And it was fun. New characters got introduced, like Dizzy. And so he's an iconic character for his own right, but it's just such a fun game. Like, there's a lot that, like I said, if it's someone's favorite, I will not dog him on anything because it's clear why it was a lot of people's favorites and still is. But for me, the personal favorite is definitely Gears 3.
Yeah, baby.
I think personally, in my opinion, that was as perfect as a Gears of War game as you could possibly get. And I even remember playing the beta when it came out in 2010 for the 360. It was because my mom was into it too, but I sort of was into it also. And it was crazy. Especially if you played the second one, saw the ending of Jacinta blowing up, it was really like, what's going to happen to all the characters now? And, the human race is like almost on the brink of extinction. Like, the Lambent becomes more of a threat now, and they were introduced at the end of Gears of War 2.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew what they were and how deadly they'd become and crazy new enemies that come out, but the campaign was really good, in my opinion, for Gears 3. I think the beginning... I will say, the one thing I will dog on the game a little bit is the beginning is kind of slow, especially when we're on the ship.
Oh, yeah.
Not a big fan of the beginning, because I think, like I said, it just starts slow. But after that moment, it's just like almost gold after all of that. And so, like, the Lambent becomes more of the new enemy threat. There's a lot more new enemies. There's even new variants of the Locust, the Savage Locust and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, the infamous Dom death, which hurt a lot of players' feelings. And it was so sad. I remember watching that.
When I first played it, oh my goodness. I was like,
I shed a fucking tear. No. It was sad because, they were all swarmed at the top of this building. They were trying to get out. They were all being swarmed by Lambent, and, it almost looked like characters were just going to die. And, Dom's like, I'm saving everybody. Yeah, he kind of ditches the group. And Marcus is like, where the hell are you going? And he's like, what the hell? He just left. And then, he's like talking, he's like trying to speak with Maria in his head. And like, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted from me, Maria? And all this stuff. And it was just so sad. Because then he turned around, and that's how you knew. I was like, oh,
Once he turned around, bro, I was like, no shot, bro. They're not doing this to me right now.
He goes, and then he's just telling Marcus to, get the fuck out. Get out of here. Run. Don't be stupid, basically. And Marcus is like, Dom, no. And then as soon as I see him hit the bill, I'm like, oh,
and then they played that one song, that goes,
Mad World.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was perfect.
That's one of the reasons why, especially the trilogy, is one of the best ever, especially with 1 and 3 specifically, is Mad World was also a really good theme, especially in that moment. Oh my god, it just made everything so much sadder. Because it was like, Marcus's best friend died, you got to play with him all in Gears 1 and 2. It's one of those, it's like, when he's gone, it's like, shit. Damn, he's actually gone. And so Dom was such a lovable character for a lot of reasons, but it's like, and Gears 3's Horde mode was also really good because that's when they introduced like turret systems, like traps basically, and so like more defense system based Horde mode instead of just the generic wave mode they had in Gears 2. They introduced Beast mode, which was really
so good.
The best mode of the whole game. And you got to actually play as the Locust, And you got to play as different special types of locusts from the campaign. You got to play as the Berserker, the Boomer, the Wretch, the Ticker, the Centipede,
the Wild Ticker. You got to play as all of them.
Yeah,
almost all of them.
Every almost type of locust that you encounter in the campaign, you could play. And so the Armored Cantus, the regular Cantus, the Marauder. Yeah, that mode was really fun. I kind of wish they added, and that's why I was disappointed with Gears 4 and 5, because they didn't add those modes back. And I'm like, why? Why? That was such a fun. And they could have even done even more with Gears 4 and 5. They could have made it.
Yeah, they could have had Swarm and the Locust.
Oh yeah, they could have had. It could have been a field day with that mode, but they didn't. But yeah, Gears 3's story was so good in my opinion. Oh, and then Marcus's father dying at the end of the game too, which also was sad because you sort of heard about him in like this really first game. He was kind of referenced, but not really. The second one, he was referenced more. In the third one, you actually got to see who he was. He was introduced in the game.
Yeah.
And, he was trying to figure out how to kill off the Locust and the Lambit. And the sad part is you realize he started experimenting on him himself. And once the machine started going off, then he was actually going to start disintegrating away. Marcus literally watches him just die and disintegrate right in front of his face. And I was like, oh my god, that's sad. That's morbid. Queen Mira's death, too. In quotes, because even with the newer ones, it's still kind of in a weird, questionable phase. But if she actually sort of died or not, I mean, her physical body definitely died. But like I said, Gears 4 and 5 get into this weird Hive network stuff that I kind of get confused about. But it's cool, but they didn't really execute it. They kind of executed it in a weird way, and so, but God, it's like Gears 3 was so good. Especially, I didn't mind multiplayer either. I very much enjoyed multiplayer. I thought it was very fun, especially leveling up. And I know the one thing that still bugs me to this day about that fucking game is the leveling glitch, which still plagues that game. And like, I remember
I'm still at level 15.
I got close to re-upping. I was like at 95. And I was gonna keep going. Because there was a method there was like a weird glitch I was using online to like level up faster. It wasn't a hack, but it was like an offline bot glitch you could do. Sorry, but I was so close. But apparently this game has a weird save data bug where just sometimes your data just resets itself out of nowhere. Like I remember one day I logged on and I was all the way back on level 15. I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, what the hell? All that time I spent leveling up, just poof. Even the characters were gone. Ribbons were there, but the characters relocked themselves. So I almost had the only character I had to unlock was Marcus Phoenix. He was really hard to unlock. But I was like, what? All that playing just gone. Like the game just reset itself. Like I guess it was some weird save data corruption issue that still plagues the game that obviously they're not going to fix because it's too old. But
yeah, I mean, at least keep it to where they're at 15 and stuff.
Yeah, it's a weird glitch. That's the only thing that makes me mad. But yeah.
All right.
But anyway, this podcast went a lot longer than I thought it would.
Yeah, we talked about video games. We both are video game fanatics.
Yeah, we could keep going and stuff, but yeah, we'll cut it here.
If you want to see a part 2, like, share, comment,
Yeah, we could do a part 2 of this. So many more stuff, but yeah. Thanks for listening to SnowBallBurrito.
Yeah, this is Burrito.
Hopefully, next podcast, we might have a camera available. Or cameras. So stay tuned.
All right, guys. Chat with y'all next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.